Welcome back to the channel. If you have a Washington quarter dollar in white or black condition, stop scrolling and don't spend it just yet. Some of these 25-cent coins have surprised collectors with values far beyond their face value. In today's video, we're counting down the top 4 Washington quarter dollar coins in white and black condition that every coin collector should know about. We'll look at the details that make these coins special, the features that increase their value, and why collectors are willing to pay so much for certain examples. Make sure you watch until the end, because one of these quarters could completely change the way you look at the coins in your pocket. Before we begin, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another rare coin discovery. That 1986 quarter just yet. What if the small coin hiding in your pocket carried a secret that most people completely overlook? Every single day, thousands of Washington quarters disappear into cash registers, vending machines, parking meters, and coin-counting machines without anyone taking a second look. But among those ordinary-looking coins, a few stand out because of their remarkable condition, fascinating minting characteristics, and growing collector demand. The 1986 Washington quarter is one of those coins, and by the end of this video, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. The story of the 1986 Washington quarter begins at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most important coin-producing facilities in the United States. By 1986, the Washington quarter had already established itself as one of the most recognizable coins in American history. Originally introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the coin quickly became a permanent fixture in American commerce. Decades later, millions of these quarters continued to circulate throughout the country, serving as an everyday reminder of America's first president. Many people assume that an old quarter automatically has collector value, while others believe that every quarter minted in large numbers is completely worthless. The truth lies somewhere in between. The 1986 Washington quarter was produced in significant quantities, but mintage alone does not determine value. Coin collectors evaluate numerous factors, including condition, strike quality, surface preservation, mint errors, eye appeal, and certification. A coin that appears ordinary to one person may look extraordinary to an experienced collector. The first characteristic collectors evaluate is the overall condition of the coin. A heavily circulated example often displays scratches, dents, worn lettering, and flattened details. These signs indicate years of movement through the economy. In contrast, an uncirculated example retains much of its original appearance. The details remain sharp, the surfaces stay vibrant, and the design elements continue to display the precision created during the minting process. High-grade examples become increasingly difficult to locate because most quarters immediately enter circulation after leaving the mint. If you have a 1986 Washington quarter in your hand, begin your inspection by examining the obverse or front of the coin. George Washington's portrait should reveal clear hair details and a strong profile. The word Liberty should remain complete and easy to read. The phrase "In God We Trust" should appear sharp and well-defined. The date should be fully visible, and the mint mark should be easy to identify. Philadelphia coins did not always include mint marks throughout American history, which makes the presence of the P an interesting feature for many collectors. Now turn the coin over and study the reverse design. The eagle should display strong feather details across the wings and body. The arrows should remain distinct, while the olive branches should preserve their original definition. The inscriptions surrounding the eagle should appear complete and evenly struck. Weak details may indicate circulation wear or a less-than-perfect strike. Collectors often compare multiple examples to identify coins with the strongest overall appearance. One of the most important characteristics affecting a coin's value is its original mint luster. This natural brilliance develops when the coin is struck and creates a reflective pattern across the surface. When light moves over an uncirculated quarter, the reflection appears to rotate around the coin in what collectors call the cartwheel effect. Preserving this luster is extremely important because it contributes significantly to eye appeal. Once a coin loses its original surface through circulation or cleaning, the change is usually permanent. Cleaning a coin is one of the most common mistakes made by inexperienced collectors. Many people believe that making a coin shine will increase its value. In reality, cleaning often destroys the delicate surface created during the minting process. Even gentle polishing can leave microscopic scratches that dramatically reduce collector interest. This is why professional numismatists recommend preserving coins exactly as they are found. Now let's discuss one of the most exciting aspects of the 1986 Washington quarter, mint errors. Errors occur when something unexpected happens during production. Because millions of coins are manufactured using high-speed machinery, occasional mistakes become unavoidable. Although most errors are caught before coins leave the mint, some still enter circulation and eventually find their way into the hands of collectors. An off-center strike is one of the most recognizable errors. This occurs when the coin blank is not perfectly aligned during striking. The resulting coin displays a design that is shifted toward one side, leaving a blank area on the opposite side. The value of an off-center coin depends on the degree of misalignment and whether important details, such as the date and mint mark, remain visible. Collectors also examine coins for evidence of die cracks. Minting dies endure enormous pressure, and over time, small fractures can develop. These fractures transfer raised lines onto the finished coin. While some die cracks remain subtle, others become large enough to create dramatic visual effects. Certain collectors specifically search for these varieties because every crack develops differently, making each coin unique. Die chips represent another fascinating category of mint errors. When tiny pieces break away from the die, small raised areas appear on the coin's surface. Some die chips are almost impossible to detect without magnification, while others become prominent enough to attract significant attention. Coins displaying unusual die chips often become popular among collectors who specialize in error varieties. Doubling is another characteristic worth investigating. In some cases, letters, numbers, or design elements may appear doubled because of the way the coin was struck or because of irregularities in the die itself. Distinguishing between machine doubling and a true doubled die requires careful examination, but either feature can increase collector interest. Professional grading services have transformed the modern coin market. Independent experts carefully evaluate coins according to established standards and assign grades that reflect their condition. Even a small difference in grade can dramatically affect market value. A circulated 1986 Washington quarter might remain worth only face value, while a beautifully preserved mint state example could attract serious collector attention. Proper storage is essential if you discover an exceptional coin. Always hold it by the edges to avoid transferring oils from your fingers onto the surface. Store it inside a protective holder designed specifically for coins. Avoid humidity, excessive heat, and direct contact with other coins. Small steps taken today can preserve a coin's condition for decades. Many collectors continue searching through bank rolls, inherited collections, and household coin jars because they understand a simple truth: valuable discoveries still happen. Every quarter represents an opportunity. Most people see only 25 cents, but collectors see history, craftsmanship, rarity, and possibility. The 1986 Washington quarter may not appear extraordinary at first glance, but hidden value often reveals itself through careful observation. That's why experienced collectors inspect every detail, compare every surface, and study every mark. The difference between an ordinary coin and an exceptional collectible often comes down to details that most people never notice. So before you spend another quarter, take a closer look. Examine the date, find the mint mark, check the luster, search for unusual characteristics, because somewhere right now, a forgotten 1986 Washington quarter could be waiting to tell its story. And the next incredible discovery in the world of coin collecting might already be sitting in your pocket, hidden in plain sight, waiting for you to recognize it before it disappears forever. That 1988 quarter, look closely at the small letter next to the date. That tiny D mint mark could be the detail that separates an ordinary 25-cent coin from a collectible that many people unknowingly overlook. Every single day, valuable coins disappear into vending machines, cash registers, and coin-counting machines because their owners never take a second look. The truth is that some 1988 Washington quarters have attracted serious attention from collectors because of their condition, striking quality, and unusual characteristics. The most exciting part is that many of these coins are still hiding in circulation, waiting for someone to recognize them before they're gone forever. The 1988 Washington quarter was struck at the Denver Mint during a period when the Washington quarter had already established itself as one of the most familiar coins in the United States. By 1988, Americans handled quarters almost without thinking. They used them for public telephones, arcade machines, parking meters, laundromats, and everyday purchases. Because these coins became such a routine part of daily life, few people imagined that certain examples would eventually become desirable collector pieces. This is one reason so many potentially valuable coins escaped attention for decades. The Washington Quarter series began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. What started as a commemorative design soon became a permanent fixture in American coinage. Decades later, the same design continued appearing on millions of coins produced every year. The 1988 quarter belongs to this long and fascinating history. While many collectors focus exclusively on much older silver quarters, experienced numismatists understand that modern coins can also become important collectibles under the right circumstances. One of the biggest myths in coin collecting is the belief that every modern coin is automatically common and therefore worthless. Nothing could be further from the truth. Coin values are determined by a combination of factors that include preservation, eye appeal, strike quality, rarity, certification, and collector demand. This explains why one 1988 quarter may be worth only face value, while another example with superior characteristics attracts considerable interest. Condition is always one of the first characteristics collectors evaluate. Most 1988 quarters circulated heavily and developed scratches, worn details, contact marks, and surface damage. These examples usually remain worth 25 cents. However, uncirculated examples that avoided everyday use are much more desirable. A coin that has preserved its original surfaces for decades becomes increasingly difficult to find as time passes, which naturally increases collector interest. When examining the front of the coin, pay close attention to George Washington's portrait. The hair should display strong and distinct details. The cheek should appear smooth and attractive without obvious flattening. The word liberty should remain bold and complete, while the phrase "In God We Trust" should be fully visible. Most importantly, locate the small D mint mark. This letter confirms that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, an important detail when identifying and cataloging Washington quarters. Turn the coin over and inspect the reverse carefully. The eagle should display clear feather details, the arrows beneath the eagle should remain sharp, and the olive branches should show distinct separation. The words United States of America and EPLUBUSUNUM should be easy to read. Weak details may indicate either heavy circulation or a weaker strike during production. Collectors often compare these features because strike quality plays a major role in determining desirability. Original mint luster can dramatically influence a coin's appearance. This natural brilliance develops during the minting process and creates a distinctive reflection when the coin is tilted under a light source. Collectors often refer to this effect as cartwheel luster because the reflected light seems to rotate across the surface. Coins that retain this original finish are generally much more attractive than those that have lost their brilliance through circulation or improper handling. Unfortunately, many potentially collectible coins lose their value because owners attempt to clean them. Cleaning may seem harmless, but even gentle polishing creates microscopic scratches that permanently alter the surface. Professional collectors strongly prefer coins that remain in their original condition. A naturally toned 1988 quarter with untouched surfaces will almost always receive more attention than a cleaned coin with an artificial shine. Now let's discuss one of the most exciting areas of coin collecting, mint eras. Every coin begins its journey inside powerful minting equipment, operating under intense pressure and at extraordinary speeds. Despite advanced quality control systems, mistakes occasionally occur. These errors create unusual coins that often become favorites among collectors because of their rarity and unique appearance. One variety worth searching for is an off-center strike. This occurs when the blank coin isn't positioned correctly during production. The result is a design that appears shifted toward one side. The greater the shift, the more noticeable the error becomes. Collectors often value these coins because they provide clear evidence of a mistake during the minting process. Die cracks represent another fascinating possibility. Minting dies endure tremendous stress while producing millions of coins. Over time, small fractures may develop within the die. These fractures transfer directly onto the coin as raised lines. Some die cracks remain small and difficult to detect, while others become dramatic and easily visible. Every die crack pattern develops differently, creating unique examples that attract specialists. Die chips can also increase collector interest. When tiny fragments break away from the die, raised areas appear on the finished coin. Although many die chips add only modest premiums, larger and more unusual examples often receive additional attention. This is why careful examination under magnification remains an essential part of the collecting process. Another characteristic collectors investigate is doubling. Certain design elements may appear doubled because of variations in die preparation or the striking process. Letters, numbers, and inscriptions should be inspected carefully. A simple magnifying glass can reveal details invisible to the naked eye. Many collectors have discovered fascinating varieties only after taking the time to examine their coins more carefully. Professional grading adds another layer to the story. Independent grading companies evaluate coins according to strict standards that consider preservation, luster, strike quality, eye appeal, and surface condition. Even a single point difference in grade can influence a coin's desirability. This is why collectors devote so much attention to preserving their coins properly. Storage is equally important. If you believe you've discovered a high-quality 1988 D Washington quarter, handle it only by the edges. Store it inside a protective holder designed specifically for coins. Avoid excessive handling, exposure to moisture, and direct contact with chemicals. Small precautions today can preserve a coin's appearance for decades. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of the 1988 D Washington quarter is that remarkable examples may still be waiting to be discovered. Collectors regularly search through bank rolls, inherited collections, forgotten jars, old piggy banks, and family albums. Every quarter represents another opportunity to uncover something unexpected. The thrill comes from the possibility that an overlooked coin might reveal exceptional preservation or an unusual minting characteristic. The next time someone hands you a quarter in change, don't immediately place it into your pocket and forget about it. Take a moment to inspect it. Check the date. Find the mint mark. Examine the details under good lighting. Look for sharp strikes, original luster, and unusual features. That simple habit could completely transform the way you think about coin collecting. The 1988 D Washington quarter proves that history often hides inside the most ordinary objects. What appears to be an everyday coin may actually represent decades of preservation, a rare minting error, or an overlooked collectible waiting to be recognized. The date, if it says 1987 and there's a tiny D mint mark beside it, don't spend it yet. Most people see nothing more than 25 cents, but collectors see something completely different. Hidden among millions of ordinary coins are a few remarkable examples that have captured the attention of the numismatic world. Some have survived in extraordinary condition, while others display unusual characteristics that make them stand out from the rest. Before this coin disappears into another cash register, let's uncover why the 1987 D Washington quarter continues to attract collectors decades after it was minted. The story of the 1987 D Washington quarter begins at the Denver Mint, one of the most important coin production facilities in the United States. By 1987, the Washington quarter had already become an American icon. Introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the design was originally intended to be a one-year commemorative issue. Instead, its popularity transformed it into a permanent coin series that would remain in circulation for generations. 55 years later, the Denver Mint continued striking millions of these quarters to satisfy the nation's demand for circulating coinage. At first glance, the 1987 D quarter appears extremely common. Millions were produced, distributed, and exchanged throughout the country. Because of its availability, many people automatically assume that every example is worth only its face value. However, experienced collectors understand that the true value of a coin extends far beyond its mintage figures. Condition, rarity within specific grades, strike quality, surface preservation, and collector demand all contribute to determining whether a coin is ordinary or exceptional. One of the most important factors affecting the value of a 1987 D Washington quarter is its state of preservation. Most examples spent years in circulation, passing from one person to another through countless everyday transactions. During this process, coins accumulated scratches, dents, surface marks, and worn details. As a result, truly outstanding examples became increasingly difficult to find. Collectors searching for premium quality specimens often spend years examining coin rolls and collections in the hope of discovering an exceptional survivor. When examining the obverse of the coin, collectors focus on the details of George Washington's portrait. The hair above the forehead should remain sharply defined, and the facial features should appear complete without excessive flattening. The word liberty should be bold, while the phrase "In God We Trust" should remain fully visible. Even the smallest details can significantly influence a coin's grade. Professional graders carefully inspect these features because minor imperfections often separate average coins from premium examples. The reverse side offers another opportunity to evaluate the coin's quality. The eagle should display strong feather details, while the arrows and olive branches should remain clearly visible. The lettering surrounding the design should be complete and sharp. Weak strikes sometimes produce coins with less detail, and collectors often compare multiple examples to identify the strongest strikes available. These subtle differences might seem insignificant to casual observers, but they can dramatically influence collector interest. One feature that immediately captures a collector's attention is original mint luster. This brilliant surface develops naturally during the striking process and creates a distinctive reflection when light moves across the coin. The effect is often described as a spinning cartwheel because of the way the light appears to rotate across the surface. Preserving this original finish is extremely important because it contributes significantly to a coin's visual appeal. Once the surface becomes damaged or altered, the original luster can never be completely restored. Unfortunately, many potentially valuable coins lose their collector appeal because of improper cleaning. A coin covered with dirt or natural tunning may tempt someone to polish it until it shines. However, this process usually creates microscopic scratches that permanently reduce its value. Experienced collectors consistently recommend leaving coins exactly as they are found. Original surfaces are almost always preferred over cleaned or altered examples. The possibility of discovering a mint error adds another layer of excitement to the 1987 D Washington quarter. Minting millions of coins requires sophisticated machinery operating at tremendous speeds, and occasionally mistakes occur. Most errors are identified and removed before coins leave the mint, but some still escape into circulation. These unusual pieces often become the most fascinating discoveries because they provide evidence of the complex manufacturing process behind American coinage. Off-center strikes represent one of the most dramatic mint errors collectors search for. These occur when the coin blank is not positioned correctly between the dies before striking. The resulting coin may display a partially missing design, creating a striking visual effect. Depending on the degree of misalignment and the visibility of important features such as the date and mint mark, these errors can become highly desirable. Another variety worth searching for is a die crack. Minting dies experience extraordinary pressure during production, and over time, tiny fractures can develop. When cracked dies continue producing coins, the defects transfer onto the finished pieces as raised lines. Some cracks remain barely noticeable, while others become large enough to create distinctive patterns. Collectors who specialize in die varieties often enjoy identifying and comparing these unusual features. Die chips provide another opportunity for discovery. These occur when tiny pieces of a die break away, leaving raised metal in unexpected areas of the coin. Although some die chips add only modest premiums, unusual examples often generate considerable interest. Every die chip tells a story about the wear and stress experienced by the minting equipment, giving collectors another reason to examine their coins carefully. Doubling is another characteristic that deserves close attention. Certain coins display letters, numbers, or design elements that appear doubled because of variations during production. Distinguishing genuine doubling from machine doubling requires careful examination, often with magnification. This is why many serious collectors invest in magnifying equipment capable of revealing details invisible to the naked eye. Professional grading services have transformed the coin market by providing standardized evaluations. These organizations examine every aspect of a coin, including wear, strike quality, luster, eye appeal, and surface preservation. The resulting grade helps establish market value and gives collectors greater confidence when buying and selling coins. A circulated 1987 D quarter may remain worth only 25 cents, while an exceptional mint state example can attract significantly greater interest. Storage also plays an essential role in protecting collectible coins. If you believe you've discovered a high-quality example, handle it carefully. Hold it only by its edges to avoid transferring oils from your fingers onto the surface. Store it inside a protective holder designed specifically for coins. Avoid placing it loosely in drawers or containers where it can be scratched by contact with other objects. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the possibility that valuable discoveries may still be waiting in circulation. Collectors regularly search bank rolls, inherited collections, estate sales, and forgotten coin jars. The 1987 D Washington quarter continues to appear in all of these places, creating endless opportunities for new discoveries. Every quarter represents another chance to uncover something unusual. The Washington Quarter series remains one of the most popular collecting categories in the United States because it combines history, artistry, and accessibility. Anyone can begin searching through pocket change without making a large financial investment. This accessibility transforms every trip to the grocery store, every handful of change, and every old collection into a potential treasure hunt. So before you spend another 1987 D Washington quarter, take a few extra seconds to examine it carefully. Look for brilliant luster, sharp details. That 1985 quarter into a vending machine, or leave it forgotten in a jar of loose change. Take a closer look at the tiny letter next to the date. That small D mint mark could be the difference between an ordinary coin and a collector's discovery. Every year, thousands of rare and valuable coins are accidentally spent because people assume that all modern quarters are identical. But experienced collectors know something most people don't. Hidden among millions of ordinary coins are exceptional examples with remarkable characteristics, impressive grades, unusual minting errors, and surprising market values. Today, we are uncovering the fascinating story behind the 1985 D Washington quarter, and by the end of this video, you'll never look at your pocket change the same way again. The 1985 D Washington quarter was struck at the Denver Mint during a period when the Washington quarter had already become one of the most recognizable coins in American history. The design itself dates back to 1932, when the United States introduced the coin to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. What was originally intended to be a commemorative issue quickly evolved into one of the most successful and enduring coin designs ever produced. By 1985, the quarter had become an essential part of daily life, moving continuously through cash registers, parking meters, grocery stores, and countless transactions across the country. Because the 1985 D quarter was produced in large numbers, many people assume that every example is common and worth only 25 cents. This misunderstanding causes countless collectible coins to go unnoticed. In coin collecting, mintage numbers tell only part of the story. The true value of a coin often depends on factors such as preservation, strike quality, eye appeal, scarcity in high grades, and collector demand. This explains why two coins with the same date and mint mark can have dramatically different values in the marketplace. The first characteristic collectors examine is the overall condition of the coin. A quarter that has circulated for decades usually displays flattened details, scratches, worn edges, and numerous contact marks. These signs of use reduce collector interest. On the other hand, a coin that escaped circulation may preserve much of its original appearance. Uncirculated examples often display brilliant surfaces and sharply defined details that immediately separate them from heavily worn pieces. Finding a high-grade 1985 D quarter today is much more challenging than many people realize. When examining the front of the coin, pay close attention to George Washington's portrait. The hair should display distinct strands, and the facial features should remain sharp and well-defined. The inscriptions, including Liberty and In God We Trust, should appear complete and bold. Examine the date carefully and locate the small D mint mark beside it. Even tiny imperfections can influence a coin's final grade, which is why professional graders inspect every detail with extraordinary precision. The reverse side of the 1985 D Washington quarter contains just as many important details. The eagle should display clear feather patterns, while the arrows and olive branches should remain fully visible. The surrounding inscriptions should appear crisp and complete. Weak details may indicate either extensive circulation or an imperfect strike during production. Collectors searching for premium examples often compare multiple coins side by side to identify the strongest strikes and the most attractive surfaces. One of the most desirable characteristics of any collectible coin is original mint luster. This natural brilliance develops during the striking process and creates a distinctive reflection when the coin is tilted beneath a light source. Collectors often describe this phenomenon as the cartwheel effect because the reflected light appears to rotate across the surface. Preserving this original finish is extremely important because once the luster disappears, it cannot be recreated. This brings us to one of the most common mistakes in coin collecting: cleaning. Many people discover an old quarter and immediately attempt to polish it until it shines. Unfortunately, this process usually causes irreversible damage. Even gentle cleaning creates microscopic scratches that permanently alter the surface. Professional collectors almost always prefer an untouched coin with original surfaces over a polished coin that has lost its natural appearance. If you think you've discovered a valuable 1985 D quarter, never clean it. Now let's explore one of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting: mint errors. Coin production involves enormous machines operating under tremendous pressure and at incredible speeds. Although quality control procedures eliminate most defects, some unusual coins still escape into circulation. These mint errors transform ordinary coins into fascinating collectibles that often attract significant attention from specialists. One error worth searching for is an off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank isn't positioned correctly before being struck. As a result, part of the design may be missing or shifted toward one side. Off-center coins are visually dramatic, making them highly desirable among collectors. The amount of displacement often influences the coin's appeal and potential value. Die cracks are another feature collectors examine carefully. After striking thousands of coins, minting dies begin to experience wear and stress. Small fractures can develop, and these imperfections transfer directly onto the coins themselves. Die cracks appear as raised lines across the surface and vary significantly in size and shape. Some remain subtle, while others become prominent enough to create highly collectible varieties. Collectors also pay close attention to die chips. These occur when tiny fragments break away from the die, creating raised areas of metal on the finished coin. Although small die chips may add only modest premiums, larger and more unusual examples often attract additional interest. Each die chip develops differently, making every affected coin unique. Another characteristic worth investigating is doubling. Certain coins display letters or numbers that appear doubled because of variations during the minting process. While some forms of doubling are relatively minor, others create dramatic visual effects that collectors actively seek. Magnification often reveals details that remain invisible during a casual inspection, which is why experienced collectors frequently use specialized equipment. Professional grading plays a critical role in the numismatic marketplace. Independent grading services evaluate coins according to strict standards that measure wear, strike quality, luster, preservation, and eye appeal. A circulated 1985 D quarter might remain worth only face value, while a premium mint state example could command much stronger prices among collectors. Small differences in preservation can produce substantial differences in value. Storage is equally important for anyone hoping to preserve collectible coins. Always handle coins by their edges to avoid transferring oils from your fingers onto the surfaces. Store them in protective holders designed specifically for long-term preservation. Environmental factors such as moisture, humidity, and improper handling can gradually damage even the finest examples. Protecting a coin today may preserve its collector appeal for decades. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1985 D Washington quarter is that valuable examples can still be discovered. Collectors continue searching through bank rolls, inherited collections, estate sales, and forgotten containers filled with spare change. Every search creates another opportunity to uncover a hidden treasure. The excitement comes from knowing that remarkable discoveries often appear in the most unexpected places. The next time you receive change from a cashier, don't automatically assume every quarter is ordinary. Examine the date carefully. Look for the Denver mint mark. Inspect the surfaces under good lighting. Search for strong luster, exceptional detail, and unusual characteristics. Developing this simple habit can transform everyday transactions into exciting treasure hunts. The 1985 D Washington quarter serves as a powerful reminder that history often hides in plain sight. Millions of people have carried these coins without ever recognizing their potential significance. Yet collectors continue searching because they understand an important truth. The difference between a common coin and a remarkable discovery often comes down to a few tiny details